Welcome to the Explainer. Okay, let's talk about a classic multi-cloud nightmare. Have you ever worried that a savvy user could hop between your AWS and Azure gateways to get around your rate limits? Well, you're in the right place. Today, we're going to break down the architectural pattern that solves this exact headache: federated API rate limiting. So here's our game plan. First, we're going to dig into the chaos of siloed APIs. Then, we'll set our North Star, what a unified system actually looks like. After that, we'll sketch out the blueprint, zoom in on the core tech that makes it all possible, and finally, we'll talk about the massive payoff you get in security and stability. All right, let's get right into the problem. In this multi-cloud world we're all living in, your APIs are spread out all over the place. And you know what that creates? A massive and often totally invisible gap in your control. I mean, this is really the million-dollar question, isn't it? Your services are distributed, but your users, they just see one platform. If you can't count their API calls globally across all your clouds, you're basically flying blind. You can't protect your system from abuse or even just ensure fair usage for everyone. So let's put you in the architect's chair for a second. You've got a gateway running in AWS, another one over in Azure, and maybe a third in GCP. To a bad actor, that doesn't look like three separate lines of defense. No way. It looks like three separate loopholes because each of those gateways is its own little island. And this slide really nails the two different worlds you can live in. On the left, you've got the siloed approach. It's pure chaos, right? A patchwork of different rules that just creates blind spots for attackers to exploit. But then you look at the right, and federation brings order. You get one policy, one source of truth, and complete visibility. Okay, so we've laid out the problem pretty clearly. Now, let's talk about the solution. What's our North Star? What are we actually trying to build here? And the key that unlocks this whole thing, it's just one word: federation. See, this isn't about ripping out and replacing all your existing gateways. Not at all. It's about giving them a way to talk to each other, to act like one single logical unit. And that brings us to our mission, which is actually pretty simple. We want to enforce one set of rules, a global rate limit, no matter which cloud or gateway a request happens to hit first. It's all about creating a single source of truth for your API limits. And just to be super clear, we are talking about the big three here. The whole goal is to create a consistent security layer that works seamlessly across your entire stack, whether it's on AWS, Azure, or Google Cloud. All right, now for the fun part. This is the real heart of our explainer. We know the what and the why, so let's get our hands dirty with the how. How do we actually build this thing? I love this analogy because it just clicks. You know, without a central dispatch, that traffic cop on one corner has no idea there's a huge pileup happening 2 blocks away. Well, federation is that central dispatch. It's the radio that connects all your gateways into a single coordinated force. Okay, let's just trace a single request to see how it works. So a request hits your AWS gateway. Before it does anything else, that gateway fires off a quick check, maybe to a Lambda function, that queries our central counter. The counter zips back a response. Hey, this user is at 99 requests for the minute. The gateway logic sees the limit as 100, so it lets the request through. And then that same function immediately tells the counter, okay, bump them up to 100. It's a really clean, decoupled, and incredibly fast flow. Now that whole beautiful system we just described, it really all hinges on one critical piece of technology: that central counter. So let's zoom in on what makes it tick. So to put it simply, Redis is basically acting as a central, super high-speed scoreboard. Every single one of your API gateways, no matter which cloud it's in, looks at this one scoreboard before letting traffic through. It has to be fast and it has to be dead-on accurate. And this number right here, this is why this whole architecture works. Your rate limiter can't become your new bottleneck, right? It needs to be able to handle a massive amount of traffic without even breaking a sweat. And that's exactly what an in-memory data store like Redis was built for. So why Redis? Why is it the perfect tool for this job? Well, it comes down to 3 things. First, it's blazing fast because it all happens in memory. Second, and this is absolutely crucial, it supports atomic operations. This prevents what we call a race condition. So just imagine 2 requests from the same user hit 2 different gateways at the exact same millisecond. Without atomicity, both gateways could read the count as 99. Both would let the request through, and bam, your user just made 101 requests. Your limit is broken. Atomicity guarantees that one request wins, the count becomes 100, and the second request gets correctly blocked. It's the one feature that makes this whole system trustworthy. And third, it's just really lightweight and simple to set up. We've gone through the what and the how, so now let's get to the most important part: the why. Why should you even bother? What are the concrete, business-critical benefits you get from this?
And I mean, just look at the difference. It's night and day. And this is the kind of chart you can show to your leadership. You are fundamentally changing your platform's risk profile. You're going from a reactive, vulnerable posture to a proactive, resilient one where you are in total control of your global traffic.
And listen, these aren't just minor technical tweaks. These are huge architectural wins. Remember those blind spots we talked about? They're gone. Now you have unified abuse detection. Those inconsistent rules? Gone. Replaced by a consistent security posture that actually builds trust. And the risk of a denial of service attack taking you down? It's massively reduced, and you get way more platform stability, all backed by a single source of truth for your metrics. So look, if you take away just one thing from all this, let it be this. Federation is what transforms that distributed chaos into coordinated, intelligent control. It's the pattern that puts you, the architect, firmly back in command of your multi-cloud world.
And that leaves us with a final thought to chew on. Now that your rate limits are unified, what else could you federate? What other cross-cloud challenges could you solve with this powerful pattern? Think about things like feature flagging or A/B testing. The possibilities are really fascinating.